It's live. Okay, I think that means we're live. Let me see if we can see the chat here. Chat. I think public chat. Let's try the type chat. Do you see where I typed hi?
I'm gonna go on YouTube on another
YouTube.
Another
yeah, go on
here.
YouTube and see if it's working.
Oh, it says welcome to our live show. That's for the vultures.
But are we being shown?
Let me take a look. Let me click on it. Yeah, we're on there. It's obviously delayed, but let's see. Looks like we've been on for a few seconds or something. Hope it didn't catch me freaking like picking my nose or something. Well, I haven't picked my nose. Thankfully.
Can you type in the chat and just see if that works?
Live chat. Why is it not opening? Oh, I see it's over here. Okay, I see your hi. Hello.
Perfect. Yeah, it's quite a bit delayed. Okay, cool. Well, we probably aren't going to have that many people viewing. We definitely don't have any viewing right now. But we might as well just shoot the shit, and then, people can watch it after, or if people hop on, they can hop on into the conversation and all that stuff. But this is our very first live stream. We're working out some kinks, making sure this works and that we're doing everything right here. But we wanted to keep it light today, and we wanted to talk about our favorite TTRPG moments. In this case, it wouldn't necessarily be like, oh, this one scene where my character beheaded this one character. Not that type of thing, but like our favorite campaigns or
settings
moments that were, kind of scripted in adventures and things like that worked out really well for our play groups. So I think the best place to start would be our very first foray into Dungeons and Dragons, and that would be, I think, the Zanzer Tem Dungeon. Yeah, I think it was the black box. I think is what it was. I remember it was a box with a red dragon on it.
Yeah, I remember it being red. The box. It doesn't really matter. Whatever.
It does, because the OSR people are very particular about what product it was, because there is the red box and there is the black box. I think it was the black box because it was basic D&D.
Yeah.
Right? And it had Zanzer Tem's Dungeon. What's funny is that whenever anyone talks about these box sets, they never mention Zanzer Tem. I've never heard the phrase or the name Zanzer Tem mentioned by OSR people, which is really weird, because we still remember that name. It's stuck with us.
It's stuck with us. Made a
and the NPCs, Adele, the NPC elf, it was our first time like interacting with or really hearing about that type of an elf. Before that, I don't think we really knew elves in that sense, because we hadn't read Tolkien yet. We were in middle school, I think it was.
Yeah,
and so we weren't familiar with.
I think we kind of were through video games, because it was either Gauntlet or what was the other one?
Yeah.
There was Gauntlet, and then there was
Golden Axe.
Golden Axe. Yeah, where one of the classes was elf, I'm pretty sure, and the elf was an archer. So you had the warrior, and then you had the wizard.
That's right.
I think the cleric or the priest, and then elf, which was the archer.
Yeah. Yeah, and now I remember. So we must have known about elves, but for some reason Adele stuck out.
Yeah.
It was Adele, right? Because we have one of our players called her Adela, and so that was kind of funny. But Zanzer Tem's Dungeon was great because it was our very first experience playing a role-playing game, and we had never really played anything like it. We'd played board games. We'd played, back in the day, video games were not like how video games are today. So there wasn't really anything like it. We'd played Hero Quest,
Yeah, that's what
and
got us into it was Hero Quest, and I mean Hero Quest is basically just it was basically I guess the board reminded me of Clue, because it had the different rooms on
yeah,
one board, and then you just moved around in there, and that's at least what I remember about it. And that was to me, it was like Gauntlet, but on a board. And then,
it was fun. Hero
yeah, we
Quest
loved
is
it,
it was awesome.
yeah.
Again never play anything like it, at that time.
Which is cool because they recently did a crowdfunding for it to
To
relaunch it. So
revamp it, yeah,
yeah,
to re-release it. But yeah, Hero Quest got us into D&D, but really, we wouldn't have gotten into D&D, Jesus Christ, D&D if our cousin Roy, I don't know if you
yeah,
remember, Roy gave us an adventure that he had. He had tried D&D, but didn't know how to play it because they just bought like an adventure
yeah.
module, and
The
they thought
original
that's what you
first
needed to buy
edition.
to play the game,
Yeah,
and
and
they didn't have the rules.
they had played it, but they didn't really know. They didn't really learn how to play it. Yeah, because they
Yeah.
didn't.
And he gave us this one module. I don't even remember what the module was. It's probably worth a lot of money,
I'm
in
sure.
this day.
I don't know
But
what we did with it.
I looked
Yeah.
through it and we were so confused. Like,
It was so complicated, yeah, and it was a
well,
little
also we didn't know
overwhelming.
the rules. We didn't know what the hell we were
Yeah,
reading.
yeah,
If you're reading that module and like you don't know exactly what it is that you're reading, like you just don't know. So then I think then that led us into like looking deeper into it. And at the time there was no internet, so we couldn't just Google it, right? So we just went to Toys R Us and they had that black box with the red dragon on it. And
and actually, we had heard about it from Roy, but they had started advertising in comic books. In fact, those comic books from those days, if you get an issue from those days, they had
mhm,
the ads for basic D&D and for Hero Quest. And I think we bought Hero Quest, and then we played Hero Quest for a couple of months or whatever, and then moved on to D&D
yeah.
basic.
So then we played that dungeon, and that dungeon had some really cool moments. Zanzer Tem, of course, like starting out as prisoners and then escaping, learning the game as you go. And
Yeah.
then the Wight scene. That was the scene that really stuck
Actually,
with us.
great thing that I had learned just from the go was naming your character. That to me that made such an impact. You were the DM and I was the player. I think it was just me at first, just you and
Yeah, it
me.
was just me and you. Yeah.
That for, at least for like the first session, which we played, I
Learning the
think
game.
maybe
Yeah, it
half an
was
hour
just
or
us.
whatever. And then we brought in a couple of more people, but yeah, I had never gotten the chance to name a character in a board game, which was just new to me. It just blew my mind. I found it so cool, and I couldn't even think of a name to give them. And then they provided, luckily, a list of optional names you could choose from, and one of them was Nuggan, and that's what I
That's
picked.
right,
I thought it was
Nuggan.
such an interesting name. I'm like, I've never heard that name before in my entire life, and
Or
I still to
since.
this day since, yeah.
Yeah.
So I picked Nuggan, and we played as that, but and because of that, actually, the adventures that we publish now, I have started to provide a list of NPC names that DMs could refer back to for if the players start asking NPCs what their names are, and the DM has to, on a whim, come up with a name that's
Yeah.
um, that matches that setting, right? So if it's like a French setting or whatever, you want to list a French name. So I put 10 male, 10 female. That would match that setting. So
Just makes it easier. Yeah.
yeah,
Having a list of names available is because, man, it's weird how that is. Like when you're
yeah.
running a game, like, and you
You
have
just
to
on
come
this
up with a
whim
name on the
can't come
spot.
up with
I,
it. It
I
just
can never come up with a name. It always goes to one single
yeah,
name repeatedly. I never can, and it's weird how that works, isn't it? Like
it's crazy.
it
Like
should
it,
be easy because we know
yeah,
thousands of names in our lives.
it's like coming up with a number. Like somebody tells me a number for some reason. 27 is always the number I come up with. I don't know why.
Mhm.
27 means nothing to me that
Yeah,
I can remember or that I can think of, and that's always the number I throw out when I'm on the spot.
yeah. But anyway, so yeah, that white scene was so cool because we at the
Yeah,
time didn't know what a white was,
yeah.
and describing
It
it in
freaked
that
me
moment.
out. That
Yeah,
that description of it, I was terrified. I'm like, oh my god, this is like one of the best horror book texts, from one of the best horror books that I've ever heard. It's freaking amazing. I
But
was
what was
scared
it
for
like?
my
It popped
character.
out of the grave or something like that?
There was a coffin in the middle of the crypt, and then the cover of the coffin started like
Oh
sliding
yeah,
off or
yeah,
something, and then his hand came out or something, and the cold filled the air, and then like I was like, "What the fuck?"
yeah.
And then and then crazy, yeah, that freaking thing really freaked me out. But yeah,
That was cool. So that was definitely a memorable moment. I remember also, um, shifting over when we started playing Advanced Dungeons and Dragons Second Edition. Um, there were plenty of memorable moments. We loved Dragonlance. That was such
oh
a
yeah,
cool thing for us because, whereas that box got us into D&D, Dragonlance really put a lot more flavor into the game for us. I remember at the time we didn't care for Forgotten Realms. We found it kind of boring
we
and
hated Forgotten Realms.
yeah,
Lucas loved it, and he was the only one, and all of us, like the rest of us, really did not. I refused.
it
I
felt
never
generic.
wanted.
Now,
Yeah,
when I say Forgotten Realms, I mean like the
the
main
core set.
core set because Forgotten Realms included like Oriental Adventures and
Well, those came
Al-Qadim,
later, and that's
and
when we got
those
more into for like
and those are
Forgotten
part
Realms.
of Forgotten Realms, but they're like separate
Yeah,
lands, and those are actually really
yeah,
flavorful.
Al
But the main
Qadim, and yeah, and Oriental Adventures, the Tour, all that good stuff. Yeah,
I don't know if you know this, but Oriental Adventures is kind of taboo nowadays.
well, I imagine,
Yeah,
right?
people are like, oh, it's problematic. Oriental Adventures
It's
is
so
problematic.
dumb. Like whatever, man. Come on. Dad. My parents were down for this past weekend uh, to visit the kids, and we went to breakfast. And my dad started talking about something, and he's like, "Oh, there was some Oriental lady," and I'm like, "Oh my god, we would get so
You can't say
canceled."
that these days.
Oh my gosh.
It's crazy, but yeah, that was Oriental Adventures and I loved Al-Qadim. I thought that was
Al-Qadim.
such a cool setting. Like there were some cool things, but the main Forgotten Realms we didn't care for. Dragonlance is really what got us into AD&D
Yeah.
Second Edition, and then Ravenloft came out, and that turned us upside down. Like Ravenloft was, we bought the box set, right? The box set
The
included like
box
a
set.
bunch of different uh, lands and all that kind of thing.
Yep.
I know in an article you wrote recently, you talked about Castle Forlorn. I thought that one was really cool with the ghost.
Yeah, that came way later though, because Ravenloft already came with a ton of different Dark Lords and lands or whatever, if I could remember correctly. Um, that you could have endless freaking adventures from that box set. Like the main Ravenloft core book that they came out with recently, or for fifth edition or whatever.
Mm,
They tried to do the same thing. But yeah, then they came out with several. What was really cool at that time, because D&D started getting very popular, and they came out with actual books like novels to read. And if you were really into D&D, if you were a DM or whatever, you could get huge inspiration from these books, which
hmm
we did. There's Carnival of Souls, the whole series of Ravenloft books, and man, they'd come out with like one a week,
Yeah,
and Tapestry of Dark Souls. There
Tapestry of
was,
Dark Souls. That one was cool.
yeah, there were so many really cool. Um,
Night of the Black Rose.
Night of the Black Rose, our
That
favorite.
was one of my
Yeah.
favorite ones. Yeah.
So yeah, so that was a huge plus for any DM and gaming group, because that those were filled with ideas, and also they helped to build some scenes that you could use in your own campaign
hmm
for your players to enjoy, and it also helped to put into your mind as a DM and as a player what these worlds would be like. So it helped immerse you a little bit more. So I thought that was a huge part of playing second edition that I think is missing a little bit
Yeah,
nowadays.
well, they TSR at the time was trying to make money in every way that they could, and that was smart of them.
Yeah,
The novels were pretty popular. I don't know why they're not really doing that nowadays. I mean, it's weird, but um, I remember for Ravenloft, one of my favorite adventures. It was kind of a low level adventure. I think like a level 3 adventure, and it was a zombie adventure. And man, that adventure was so awesome.
Yeah,
The
you always
way,
talk about it. Yeah, and
yeah,
I
yeah, I don't.
barely
It's weird
remember
that you
it.
don't remember it because
Yeah,
you ran it, and it
I
really
know.
stuck with me. In fact, I copied a huge, not copied, but like I have nods to it in one of my
Inspiration from
adventures.
yeah.
The horror deed in every eye. I nod to it. But yeah, it's like you first are going towards the town in like a swamp, and a lightning storm is coming. So once in a while, the DM is supposed to describe this lightning strike, and like there's a storm coming. No rain, just lightning in the background. And then you get to this town, and a bunch of stuff is happening. People are getting sick, and no one knows why. And it turns out that there's like a zombie lord living beneath the city, in the crypts of the city. He's like turning people into zombies, and he's raising an army. And then the player characters, like they're holed up in like this farm, and then finally the storm breaks, and it's now raining and lightning. Right at the climax of the adventure, the PCs come out of the farmhouse, and it's dark, just lit by moonlight. And the way the scene was described, like rain coming down, lit by moonlight, and then just a lightning strikes, and you just see silhouettes of dozens of like zombies just walking towards the thing. And it's like, oh, I remember when you described that scene, I legitimately felt fear. I was like, "Oh my god, we're all gonna die! This is insane! Like we're all
That's one
screwed."
thing from those old second edition adventures that I loved, which I had to really adjust. It took me forever to adjust writing adventures for modern D&D and modern role playing. Was not putting so many description boxes, read aloud
Yeah,
text, because that was really big back then, and that that's what was popular. But a lot of those descriptions were so good that you know
yeah.
they added a lot to it, and now it's just a different style of play. So
Well,
we
I mean, I think it just depends. I think you know, a the writing is not as good, and so when people write a huge, you know, 2 pages of descriptions or read a lot of text or whatever, it's just boring. First of all, second of all, when someone is reading to you, it just depends on the delivery of the person who's running the game. And a majority of game masters, a majority of people these days, let's just be honest, can't
yeah
read, right? Like if I'm reading my screen right now, right? Okay, I say, this is your statement notice. Your bill is online now. I can read that and say it
yeah
naturally. But
yeah
most people, when they read, this is your statement notice,
you're
view
right
your bill. And so that
yeah
makes it even worse because people don't know how to fucking read. And so what happens is these read aloud texts, they're reading it like that, and they're reading a paragraph in that kind of cadence, and you just tune it out. You zone out. You don't listen. It just like, when is this guy going to stop talking and reading at me? You know what I mean? Whereas with natural descriptions, when you do bullet points, and you're like, okay, this guy smells, this guy, the lightning strikes and rain is falling. Now I have no choice but to describe it, and the players will be engaged because I'm going to lock eyes with them instead of reading in this weird way and just say, the rain is falling and these zombies, you just see these silhouettes in the background, and they're actually going to pay attention to you. And so, yes, the
that
read
makes
aloud
sense.
text,
I never considered the DM just not being able to read, but it makes
it's big
sense.
now.
Unfortunately, like you said, and not to be an elitist here, but yeah, unfortunately, my wife's an English teacher, and I taught writing groups. And when people were reading their own they're writers. They're reading
Yeah.
their own writing.
Their own stuff that they wrote. Yeah. And they
My
still can't read
gosh,
it
come
right.
on,
Yeah.
man! Oh
Yeah.
lordy, yeah, it's painful. But I just never considered that. But that's kind of the egotistical way of humans, I guess. We often
Hmm.
fail to see our own or see outside of our own mind, I guess. But
Yeah.
yeah,
But
so
that adventure stuck with me because that's, I remember you ran that. That was, I think, the very first adventure in Ravenloft that you ran, and
mm,
and we had bought the box set, and there was all these lines, and you read through them because I was a player at the time, and you didn't want to spoil it for me or whatever, and so I didn't know anything about it, and I was like, okay, we've been playing this like fantasy game with dragons and all the stuff, Dragonlance and high fantasy, and this is supposed to be a horror thing. I had never played a horror game, so I didn't know what to expect. But then that adventure, the minute we ran that, I got it. I was like, okay, now I know. Now I know what this is. This is different, and It was awesome. It was so cool. It was so much fun.
Yeah, yeah. There and yeah, that was the cool thing about Ravenloft. There were so many cool lands, so many things you could do there, man. Like there was like Rishemulot, where there was a rat king and or a were rat, and then there was
There's some
Forlorn.
lich.
Well,
There was a
Azalin,
lich that was trying to fight Strahd or something
yeah,
constantly.
Azalin the Lich,
Azalin the lich.
and then of course um, Lord Soth, which we had just played Dragonlance right before starting Ravenloft, and we see Lord Soth, and we're like, what the hell? And it was so cool, and especially once we read Night of the Black Rose, gosh, man, that was just
Yeah,
wow.
because we loved Dragonlance and we now loved Ravenloft, and it was just like both combined. It was so cool.
Yeah, and it made sense to put them in there, and it was
Hmm.
just really, really neat. But yeah, back to Forlorn. So yeah, since I wrote an article for our newsletter last week about it, because that really stuck with me. Because we had tried, I think it was before Castles Forlorn, because I think Castles Forlorn was one of the last things we bought. But I think right before that, before Ravenloft, there was not under, was it Under Mountain? It was like a mountain. It was huge, and all it was kobolds. And I guess
Hmm.
the people who wrote it, it was this huge campaign. It was like an
It was
open
Undermountain.
Undermount, yeah. So it was
Yeah, it
like
was
an open,
Undermountain.
like sandcastle style campaign setting where you could keep
Sandbox.
going in and out. And the writers just found it so interesting that kobolds were so smart. So they're like, oh, even though this is for levels 1 through 20, kobolds are always going to be the bad guy. And back then we played with experience. Pretty much everybody did. And kobolds didn't give you crap of experience. So I'm like,
Yeah.
what the hell sense does this make? Where people are gonna people are gonna be level 15 fighting kobolds and they're gonna get 1 experience point and like like really,
Yeah.
and that was tough to run. But then Castles Forlorn, I thought would be when I opened it and there's this huge map and whatever, and I'm like, oh no, another Undermountain. It's gonna be tough to you know play with Theater of the Mind and which we didn't call it that back then, but uh, and then I read it. I was like, wow, this is so complicated. Where
Hmm.
you have three different times, past, present, future, in each same room, right? And so, how would you play this? It was so tricky and so complicated to play it, but the idea itself, to me, was so innovative. I had never seen anything
Yeah.
like it.
I remember the ghost, and I remember the castle having that, but I don't
Tristan,
remember us playing it at all.
we played
Like,
it because it was going to be tough to run it, man. Because imagine,
yeah.
so if you guys separated, because our group really liked to separate, like
Yeah. Yeah,
everybody
we
liked
did.
to do their own thing. If you exited one room, there was a chance that the room they entered shifted to past, present, or future, and the rest of the
Um,
party would be in this other room in the past, present, or future. Let's say in the
Kind of
past.
like Delta Green's Night Floors type thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So
Yeah.
to run it like that, and then so if the party completely splits up and everybody, two people in the party are in the past, another one's in the present, and the other one's in the future, it's like, oh my lord! And then as you move through rooms, everything could shift for all three groups. So now they're in the past, and this one's in the, like, holy cow! That is just mind-blowingly complex. I loved the idea. Um, but in practice, it was very difficult for me to actually apply it. I think we played one session of it, and then I changed how to run, like, the mechanics of it to make it a
Mm.
lot easier for us. But I loved also the main bad guy because he was also an innovative bad guy because he was, I think, ghost by day and then
Yeah.
vampire by night.
And also, we had never fought a ghost. Like, I thought
Yeah,
that was a cool concept, just a ghost being a bad guy. Like, I didn't even know that was
yeah.
possible.
So there were a lot of really, really cool, interesting things. And then to boot, in that land, there was like the Loch Ness monster, Aggie,
Oh,
which
that's
was,
right. That's right. I
yeah,
forgot
which
about
is
that.
like, wow, so you're just throwing everything at this thing. But it
Yeah.
was really, really cool. And it has inspired me. Like every time I get stuck, uh, writing an adventure or whatever, and I think, man, I can't come up with something new and different. And I stop and I think, man, if after churning out so many different modules for second edition, towards the end of our run playing second edition, which was
Hmm.
many years, somebody could come up with that. I'm like,
Yeah.
man, I could come up with new ideas too. Like it's so
Yeah. Um, I mean, with running second edition, I mean, the ones that stuck out definitely were the ones with the most flavor, which
yeah,
was interesting. Like the generic fantasy. Everyone knows D&D for being generic fantasy, but now that it's been, I mean, how long has it been? Like 30 years, more than that since
yeah.
we played, 30 something years. Um, and the ones that I remember are those, like Ravenloft, Dragonlance. Actually, Dragonlance can be considered kind of generic fantasy in a way. So, and funny that is because I don't remember any Dragonlance adventures that we played at all.
I
I don't
wrote
remember any
them,
of them.
and I don't remember any of them either. However, I do remember things about the setting. Um, like I remember the moon phases and how they would
Yeah.
affect magic and everything. I thought that was really interesting. We never used it because it was
The
just
no
going to
clerics
complicate it.
thing, I
Yeah,
think, wasn't there
yeah,
no clerics?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There were no clerics. I'm pretty sure.
Which was really interesting.
Yeah,
Like there were definitely interesting aspects. The art really that's what I remember the most from
yeah.
Dragonlance is the artwork, which was really cool. The Boris Vallejo and Chris, I forget the name of the guy, Chris something. Um, but yeah, that's all I remember. I don't remember a single adventure from Dragonlance. I do remember Ravenloft adventures, and
Yeah.
I remember Zanzer Tem, and I remember um, when we played Al-Qadim. I remember the setting too. I don't think there may have been one or two official adventures. Al-Qadim didn't have a whole lot of official published adventures for it. But yeah, I remember the setting itself was really cool. Al-Qadim, where you had like the sand sorcerers that had like a jinn or a genie, and that's how they would get their
That was
magic. That was innovative.
that was really cool. I loved that.
Like when you wanted to cast a spell, your little genie would disappear, go get the spell for you, and all instantaneously. But it was
Yeah,
cool
that
that that
was
was like a
so
flavor
cool.
thing.
Yeah, and you ran that campaign, the Alchemy.
Yeah.
And then there was another setting where the gnomes, there was like the Tinker gnomes, and they could build little
Hmm.
automatons that would run around and do little things with toys, and you made like a
Yeah.
like the
Yeah.
toy master, which was really really cool. And then you'd think so. Here's another thing about innovation, man. Like thinking outside the box. So you'd think, okay, they have Alkadim, which is kind of like a desert world, and then out of nowhere, here comes Dark Sun, and I'm like, oh,
Now
another,
that was the peak.
yeah, and
That
I'm
to
like,
me was by far the peak of our D&D
yeah,
gaming
dude,
period. When we were playing second edition, Dark Sun I think took the cake for
yeah. I
the
remember when I
most.
saw it. I saw it. I was like, another Alkadim. Like, how are they going to make this interesting? And then it was like, holy cow, the psionics, and everybody has psionic abilities, and then the defilers, and they drain
The cannibal
the life of
halflings.
the cannibal halfling, and like so many interesting things, and the dragon kings, and like just sorcerer kings, dragon kings. I mean, so many cool aspects, and the slavery aspect, which you would not see nowadays either.
That's why they haven't come out
Yeah,
with a setting for it because of that.
which is like slavery is not racist. Every single race on this planet has been a slave. Like,
Yeah. But
but
it
anyway,
just they're like scared to put that out there. I mean,
yeah,
it
yeah,
created interesting stories.
it did.
It wasn't glorifying like if it was, it
Right,
would be a different thing if it was glorifying slavery, but it wasn't. It was part of the storytelling. And so what? You're not allowed to
and
tell
that's the
stories.
land. That's the world. Like,
Yeah,
man, it was
with
basically
adversity.
what made it really cool is like a Mad Max world, but fantasy, role playing, but not modern Mad Max, like what Mad Max would be if it was D&D,
Yeah,
D&D times, like
specifically
medieval,
Thunderdome, Mad Max Thunderdome
yeah, Mad Max
from Mad Max
Thunderdome,
3.
but medieval
Yeah,
technology,
yeah.
which is really cool.
Yeah, it was.
So
I mean, it was great. So flavorful. I mean, we didn't get to play some of the other flavorful settings like Planescape. I heard is really flavorful, and then there's a couple others that we didn't really get a chance to play that were really flavorful. Um, but I thought, man, between Ravenloft, Alkadim, and Dark Sun, like they're so distinct.
Yeah,
They're so like iconic, you know. And that's what's sad is with the modern version of
and
D&D. They
that's
haven't come
such a
out.
missed opportunity for fifth
Yeah,
edition, man. Like they had, if they, bro, man, if I ran that freaking company, forget the backlash that you would get from whatever,
yeah.
all these groups.
People get
Freaking
over it.
come out with it and build on, play on the nostalgia. Everything's about nostalgia nowadays, with
Yeah.
comic books, with TV shows, with movies. Now they're doing
They're
Masters of the
trying
Universe.
to. That's why
Like,
they've come out with the freaking Strahd book like every
yeah,
single year.
but they do it. They tiptoe into it, and
Yeah.
like, no, freaking release the real shit. And like, come on, man. If I ran freaking Wizards of the Coast, I'd be like, we're freaking TSR, and this month we're coming out with Dark Sun, second edition of Dark Sun, the new edition of Dark Sun. This month we're coming out with the new edition of Al Qadim. Like, screw all these fucking people. And
Yeah.
then
I mean,
the man, Wizards of the Coast would have been huge had they
here's the
done
thing
that.
though. The nostalgia is one thing that would bring in the old school people, sort of. They're always going to find a reason to hate, whatever, regardless. They wanted to attract new people, but they went about it the wrong way. You know what I mean?
They
Like
sure did.
and this is not this video, but just briefly, at the very least, how come second edition was able to come out with iconic setting after iconic setting after iconic setting? Even Oriental Adventures that people have a problem with, it was iconic. You had Caratur, like it was really cool. They had some really cool classes and things with it, and they just, it was a mishmash of everything from the east, and it was cool. It was fun.
Yeah. Nowadays, you can't be. The thing is, for companies, you cannot be scared about the backlash, because that loud minority, they don't buy your shit anyway.
Yeah,
And the thing is, like, so like I saw a YouTube video about some video game about ninjas or something, or maybe it was a role playing game, or maybe it was even for D&D or something about ninjas. Um, and they got the backlash because ninjas are racist and they perpetuate racism and stereotype. Like, it's fucking ninjas, man. Come on.
whatever.
Who cares?
It's
Come
so
on with
annoying.
it. This is a problem with why everything's failing nowadays. Movies, TV shows, because they want to play with the nostalgia, but they want to tiptoe around it. Oh,
Yeah.
we got to be careful. Oh, Supergirl. Oh, but let's make her this, and then why is everything failing now?
Yeah.
You're trying to play on the nostalgia, but you're not doing it the right way. You're trying to appease an audience that doesn't buy your stuff anyway.
Yeah. But again, to go back to that, I mean, this is a topic that we definitely want to discuss for another time.
Yeah.
But even not just on the nostalgia, just come out with something interesting. Why have they been unable to come out like you said, they're tiptoeing on nostalgia,
because
but then
no
they're
matter
not coming
what,
out with anything new.
because no matter what you come out with, you're going to get some kind of backlash, because you're going to offend somebody no matter what you do. You could come out with vanilla ice cream, the most freaking generic popular ice cream of all time, and somebody's going to get offended for some reason or another.
So you're saying they're scared of just coming out with anything new because they're scared they're going to get backlash no matter what they try.
Not just that. It's because you have to put it through this group to verify it and vet it, and then this group to vet it, and this one, and this one, and this one, and then one of those groups is going to find something. So they do, and then, we're going to shelve it. And you do that enough times, now you spend all this money on research and development and still haven't come out with a product. So then you just give up on even trying.
And then you come out with Ravenloft for the 50th time.
For the 50th time. And half-ass it. And
so,
like, this is the problem. And this is why they haven't capitalized such a big company with so many opportunities. Adventures, figurines, and then to boot, and again, this is not for this video, but just to mention it briefly. So what you're relying on is third parties to create all this stuff for you, and then you're going to go and shit on them. Of course, your company's going to go to crap.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be real.
Yep. Yeah, for sure, man. But going back to the main topic, right? The adventures or moments that we like. So we loved Dark Sun. There were definitely some really amazing moments that we had with Dark Sun. And then after that, we kind of left the hobby, right? Like, is there anything else that stands out from that period? I guess the Oswagan clans from the Basic Expert, the Rule Cyclopedia book. When the Basic Expert was re-released with the Rule Cyclopedia, they came out with the Oswagan clans supplement,
Mm.
and that was a cool supplement because it was like Native American inspired, which there was nothing like that until that
Yeah,
moment,
yeah,
and there was nothing like that ever put out for second edition. It was only put out for Basic Expert, right?
yeah,
Or BECME, I guess is the proper name to call the Rule Cyclopedia. So for the BECME version of D&D, we had the Oswagan clans, and then there was really cool. It had some really interesting stuff in it. I liked
yeah,
it. We didn't really get to play much with it, I think.
yeah. We definitely didn't play enough with it.
But then we kind of left D&D briefly. We played damn, what was the name of that? It was like a post-apocalyptic. It used the D&D system.
Oh, you mean the one that was futuristic and you
Gamma
could be
World.
like a tree? Gamma World, yeah. You could be
Gamma
a
World.
tree, and
Yeah.
then you'd find like a road sign, and your characters didn't know what it was, so they're like, "Oh, it's a shield."
Yeah.
I love that. It was so
Gamma
cool.
World was great. But the only official adventure we ever played for Gamma World, and we played like 4 times because it was the only official one, was on with the Blue Man as the boss of the adventure. Do you
I
remember?
don't
You don't remember
remember.
that, huh?
I just remember I
We played that
loved the
one
game.
adventure for like 3 or 4 times.
I remember that I thought it was so cool that you could make such unique, creative characters.
Yeah.
Gamma World was awesome. We
Gamma
tried,
World was fun.
yeah, we tried.
That we played very briefly. We didn't play a full campaign on Gamma World, but
Yeah,
it still was memorable to me. The Blue Man adventure, because just the setting was really cool.
yeah.
And then we shifted to the Apocalypse World setting, which is Apocalypse. Wait, I think it's called Apocalypse World,
Apocalypse World, I'm pretty sure.
where it's basically Mage the Ascension, Vampire the Masquerade, Werewolf, the whatever, the Reckoning, or some shit like
I
that.
liked Vampire the Masquerade. I thought it was pretty cool. We played the card game, was pretty cool.
Jihad. It's
Jihad.
called Jihad.
Oh, that's right, Jihad. Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
With what is it? Power Base Chicago. We called it Power Base Chicano.
Power Base Chicano.
Power Base Chicano.
Right.
And then
I forgot about that.
yeah, that was really cool. They did a show which did not do well, but anyway,
It was popular for a little while, and we
yeah,
got into it ourselves, But then we kind of
we
delved
tried
into like
BattleTech, and Lucas just screwed that up.
we also
He was
tried
such a-
Cyberpunk and
Cyberpunk.
Cyberpunk as well as Shadowrun, and
Yep.
the flavor was good. Even like right now, we're playing a Shadowrun campaign, and the flavor's good. The campaign is good. The mechanics are just something else. It's
Mechanics
just
get in
they're
the
trying to do
way.
too much.
Yeah, the mechanics get in the way of the fun. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
after so many editions, you'd think they'd freaking have that right, but
Yeah. But then we got into
we got
Marvel.
into Magic. We got into Magic.
We got into
Marvel,
Magic,
Marvel.
but that's not a role playing game. Marvel superheroes. That was cool. The face
cool.
face rip.
FASERIP.
Marvel. You had FASERIP was your stats.
Yeah.
Face rip, and
it was really cool.
that was fun.
You leveled up with, instead of experience, you had karma, which was you gained through doing good deeds, role playing, and different things, completing adventures or whatever, defeating bad guys, and you could lose karma by doing things that were not heroic, which was pretty cool. And if you killed somebody, you lose all your karma, and then you could level up, and you had different levels. They didn't have level numbers. They had like, incredible was 40, and then amazing was 50, and then whatever.
Monstrous was 75 or something.
Yeah, something like that. And that was I loved that game, man. I loved it.
That
so
game
much.
was great, but there were very big flaws in the game.
Yeah,
Because if you had a defense or like a shield rating or something of like monstrous, like the Hulk had like monstrous defense or something like that, and then someone like Wolverine hit for like incredible damage, you would never ever be able to hurt because you were doing 40 damage against 75, and there was no way to get it up beyond that.
Yeah.
So they were like immune to your attacks, and so there were some major problems with that game. Major problems, but it was still super fun.
It
Like,
was
I
a
love
lot
the
of fun
idea of
though.
picking powers and creating your own superhero. I thought that was interesting. And at the time, we were really, really at our peak of comic book
Comic,
collecting.
yeah,
We loved comic books, and that game just made us even more attached to them because we got to play in the stories that we loved.
yeah, yeah.
And that was cool.
I remember which is with the new Marvel game that came out recently. That was my first bone I picked with them was the fact that it didn't include at least a short freaking adventure to teach
Yeah.
the game master, the storyteller, how to create and run an adventure for the
Yeah.
game. If you don't come out with an adventure when you come out with the game at the same time, and so you're expecting people because it took almost a year or maybe
Hmm.
more than a year before they came out with the first adventure. So all this time, game masters are like, okay, how do I make an adventure?
Yeah, for
And
this game.
yeah, there
and
was
and
no
it's, let me tell
example.
you, it makes a big difference
It
because
does.
you can't assume that every adventure is run like a D&D adventure, because
Yeah,
it's not, especially
it's
when the
not.
system is so different.
And the
and
thing
and
is, so I remember for that Marvel game from back then, it came with an adventure and it used it used the actors' names from not Kung Fu, what was it, Karate Kid.
Oh,
Uh,
really? I don't
yes,
remember
bro.
that.
Yes, yes. It had oh shoot, not Ito. Anyway, whatever their names were, the Mr. Miyagi, it had Mr. Miyagi as a character, and it
Mm,
had you know
Daniel
Daniel
San.
Sana as another character, but with the actors' names. It was really
Oh,
funny.
yeah.
Yeah, I never forgot that. It was freaking hilarious.
I don't
But yeah,
remember that.
so yeah, back to the other point, which is coming out when you come out with a game, man. There's so many creators coming out with their own games. Take the time. It doesn't take that long. Create an
Yeah.
adventure for it. Release a game with an adventure, so that
Because what will happen is people who buy your game or run your game, if they don't have any template of how to run or write an adventure for that game or a sample adventure, they're just going to run a D&D adventure, and
yeah,
that may not be the intent for your game. I mean, look at something like Call of Cthulhu. It's an investigative game. Or Delta Green. If you try to, if Delta Green didn't
very
have any
different.
adventures, can you imagine, like, people would be playing it like a D&D game, and characters would be dying left and right. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Because honestly, like, they wouldn't know how to do it. They wouldn't know how to
yeah,
do it if they're coming from a game like
yeah.
D&D.
Other games we played recently, Lancer. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of third party adventures, but man, you got to dig through a lot of crap. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
sorry, but it's a fact. To find an adventure, and I couldn't find one, so I had to create my own. But luckily, we have many, many years of playing different games. But if you're new to role playing and you buy the Lancer book, there's no adventure in there. Man,
Yeah.
that's a game that really requires some guidance on how to create an adventure because there's two aspects to the game. There's the role playing aspect of your pilot, and there's the tactical, which is very tactical aspect of the mechs and mech
Yeah.
combat. So then there's I mean, very different game. Alien. We played Alien a couple times,
Hmm.
and that's very different too from
Yeah.
almost any other game. That's very cinematic. So if you don't provide an adventure, I don't know if Alien comes with an adventure in it or not, but
Yeah, it does.
well, that's good because that is so different that it would require that. So if you create your own game, come out with an adventure. It does not take a lot of effort or
Hmm.
time.
Yeah. It makes a
People
big difference.
appreciate it a lot, and it helps you too because man, it's a huge selling point because so many games nowadays don't come with an adventure.
Yeah.
You know, so it's a huge selling point. It
Well,
includes
it kills your
whatever.
game. Your game will be dead in the water if you're a
Yeah,
game designer and you release your game and no adventures. Your game's dead. People are gonna buy it. They're gonna be
yeah.
like, "That's cool." They'll make some characters, and then they may make up one adventure, run it for their friends, and then they won't have anything else to run, and then they'll drop it and go play something else, and
Like
then
the
they'll
new
never
Marvel
touch
one.
your game again.
The new Marvel one. It's the only reason it survived is because it's Marvel. That's the only
Yeah,
reason, and because Marvel movies were at their peak. When it
yeah.
was just slightly starting to decline when that game came out. But that's
I
the
don't think
only
it's doing
reason.
that well.
That's the only reason it survived as long as it has. Otherwise, it would have been dead in the
Yeah,
water because they had a year and a half, a year of beta testing that they charged for. They charged the beta testers rather than the other way around. and they did that, and even the beta test didn't come with a freaking adventure. And then they had almost a year before they came out with the final version. They finally come out with it, and no freaking adventure, and then you got to wait another year before their first adventure is released.
Yeah,
It's like,
it's
dude,
terrible.
you're expecting a lot from your players.
Yep.
So the only reason people gave it grace is because it's Marvel and it's characters they love.
What I think is going to end up killing DC 20, and we have our own criticisms of that whole campaign and Kickstarter. We're not going to bash on this dude too hard, but
Yeah.
but it's the game is taking forever because let's just call it a spade. People were misled, and some people are fanatics, and they're going to allow themselves to get misled like that, and still sycophants will defend it. But the fact is, all the advertisements and the partnerships with the YouTubers made it sound like the game was done, was pretty much done when they ran their Kickstarter, and clearly it wasn't, because it's gone through. It's a completely different game than it was when they ran their Kickstarter.
Yeah.
And don't take our word for it. Just do a Google search on that. But on top of that, I think the reason DC 20 is going to be in trouble is because not only are they taking this long, so the hype is already dropping, but then when the game finally releases, what are they going to have for it? What adventures are they going to have for it? I don't think they're going to have that much. Hopefully they do. I mean, I'm not trying to wish them poorly, but
with as many changes that are happening, every time something changes, then how could you possibly be creating any adventures or anything?
I was going to make Horror Ishizu Landing DC 20 compatible.
Yeah, we had it planned.
And I changed my mind because the game has changed. Every couple months, it's a different game. And it's like, how can you possibly make an adventure for this thing when the game is still not even done? I can't imagine anyone having an adventure ready for it. And mind you, Horror Ishizu Landing is a full, complete adventure story-wise. The story is done. And still, I would find it very difficult to make this for DC 20 because things keep changing. And I'd have to go through everything, skill checks and all that stuff, to see if it's compatible. And then next month, they're going to drop another change on me, And so I'm like, no, I'm not going to release this, But I think that's DC 20, and I emailed the guy and I said, you need support from third party, you need to have adventures ready and all this stuff, and the guy thinks he knows what he's doing. All right, well, I mean, he's popular, he made 2 million, so we're probably wrong here, but anyway, so I think releasing a game without any support, any adventures, or anything in the pipeline to release very quickly, immediately it's gonna lose. Even people who might be interested in playing the game, they're going to lose interest because they won't have anything to run for their friends. And they're going to go to a game that does have stuff to run and adventures to buy for it. So, yeah. But anyway, so we left role-playing for like 20-something years. And then we came back to 5th edition. Now, 5th edition, I started playing it before you got back into it. I think years before you got into D&D. Back into D&D. For me, 5th edition, I started with Adventures League, which is like public play. Like, basically, you go into a game store and you take your character. Your character's portable. You can play it at different tables, because if it's Adventures League legal,
about that. I thought that was so cool.
Yeah. It was fun. My first really fun memory of 5th edition was, there was one really cool adventure for Adventures League, the Sword of Sylfendel or something like that, which was really cool. But then my biggest, because Adventures League, you could go to a convention, and they have what they called epics. I don't know if they still do them, but basically the way an epic works, anyone who's got an Adventures League legal character of any level can play in this epic, and you could have like 30 tables of people playing the same adventure. So like one epic would be like, this dragon is attacking the city and it's flying overhead. So the people who are playing like tier 1 characters, level 1 through 4, they may be told by the guards, oh, the dragon's coming, go below the city walls, underground into the sewer system, and make sure you blockade or block off. So your mission,
that's
you have a
pretty
set
cool
mission.
So basically everybody in the room is like the whole town.
Yeah.
and then
You have
one
different tables of
table.
different groups of adventurers, and they're all doing
Yeah,
different things that affect everyone else. So, and they'll cut it. Like, there'll be like 3-4 cuts throughout the adventure. So as soon as the timer runs out, if you completed your part of the mission, then this other table gets this advantage because you were able to seal off the entrance. And if not, now you got hordes of goblins coming up from beneath the city, and now that table's going to have to deal with them in addition to the other stuff they have to deal with. And then at the end,
nice.
the step 4, the dragon is going table to table. So you'll have someone running the dragon, and they'll go and they'll stop at one table, and the dragon will be flying overhead, and everyone gets to attack it, and then it flies to a different table, and now it's too far away from these guys. So it's really cool. I mean, the epics were like,
Yeah,
they were amazing. I'd never seen
it takes a
anything like
lot
it.
of coordination to pull something off like that, but that's really, if done right, that's
Yeah.
freaking awesome. Yeah,
It's fun. It's fun, and even better that any level character can play them because they had different things that you can do for
yeah,
each level, and
yeah.
and it was really cool. So that's something that was super memorable for me in 5th edition were the epics. And then once I played enough Adventurers League, I met enough people that I liked playing with on a regular basis that we formed our own D&D group, and then we started playing. And the very first official campaign that we ran was Out of the Abyss, and man, it's still my favorite. Maybe it's
Yeah,
because
you
it was
always
the
talk
first.
about it.
Maybe it's because it was the first one that we ran for
Yeah.
5th edition, and so it holds that special place, kind of like Zanzer Thames Dungeon was our first.
Hmm.
Maybe that's why. But I don't know. I just think that adventure's so fun, dude. It's so cool. It's really interesting. Like, have I told you of what it is about?
I'm sure you have.
Basically, the Drow. It mostly takes place in, not Undermountain. What's it called? The underground
Dark,
of,
dark keep,
not the Shadow Dark,
under keep,
Underdark.
underdark.
So it takes place in the Underdark. So the campaign starts where you're prisoners, just like in Zanzer 10, you're prisoners of the Drow. And you have to plan your escape. That's how the entire campaign starts. But basically, the whole campaign is in the Underdark, there was this Drow mage who hates the matriarchy of the Drow and was trying to destroy this big city. I think it was Menzoberranzan, or it was another big Drow city. And this Drow mage ends up screwing up the ritual that he was doing, and he ends up opening a gate to the Nine Hells.
No.
Or not the Nine Hells, the Abyss,
Oh, right.
which is
Okay.
because the Nine Hells is where the devils are, the Abyss is where the demons are, and so the demons, he releases all the demon lords, the biggest demon lords, from the Abyss into the world of the Forgotten Realms, and they start out in the Underdark, and so then at first you're just trying to escape from the Drow, but you start coming upon little evidence that this whole plot is going on. And then at the end of the campaign, you're fighting the demon lords. Like you're doing different things, and you're running into them, and
Nice.
you're fighting, dude. And it is so cool. It's such a cool campaign. I loved it. There's so many memorable characters. The campaign starts, which is normally a huge faux pas. I never advise the dungeon master to have NPCs that go with the party, right? Like DMPC. Everyone knows it's a wrong thing to do. Is for your DM to have NPCs that are part of the group, part of the party. Not in Out of the Abyss. The Out of the Abyss starts with 13 NPCs that
Oh.
are also prisoners that go with the party, and they all have personalities. They're all really unique, and one of them secretly killing others. Like one of them secretly infected with like a fungal thing that, and his head ends up exploding into spores at some point in the campaign if he survives long enough. Like, dude, it's so cool. And then like they all start dying. Like they're all eventually gonna die, because it's brutal. But it's one of the few times that I think it was done right, for a DM to be running NPCs, and more than one. I mean, it's 13. It's like 10 or 13 NPCs, something like that.
Damn.
That travel with the party. Yeah, it's huge. But it's a really fun campaign. So for 5th edition, I think that's been my most memorable. And then my second most memorable was a third-party campaign, and it's called Odyssey of the Dragon Lords. And that campaign is like a Greek mythology inspired.
Oh, cool.
Bro, it is so awesome. So you know how I started Ishizu?
Yeah.
The start of Ishizu is you guys are in a bar or in a tavern, and you're all there for a job because you saw an ad for a heist job or whatever. And when you meet each other, you pass around. You write 3 rumors for your character. 1 is true, 2 are false, and you pass them around. And then each player gets 1 of the rumors. They don't know which one's true or not. And they go, "I've heard of you." Like when you introduce yourself, "Oh, I've heard of you. Aren't you the guy that climbed the wall of Mount Doom or something like that?" Right? And then you can respond in whichever way you want. So, like, it's one of my favorite ways to introduce a party to each other. That I kind of got from Odyssey of the Dragon Lords
Oh,
because it's Greek mythology. Everyone has like their name, right? Everyone's supposed to. That's like their main thing is they want to be famous,
right.
important. And Odyssey of the Dragon Lords is just this epic Greek mythology inspired campaign that's really cool. It's super fun. And so that one was also my second most memorable 5th edition campaign. Did you have any that stood out to you for 5th edition?
Well, when I came back into D&D, I think what was the first campaign that I played when I came back? I know the Ice Maiden was not the first one, but it was definitely memorable. The Ice Maiden, no, I played with our current group, the Ice
Yeah,
Maiden,
Rime of
right?
the
Yeah.
Frostmaiden.
I mean, yeah, the Frostmaiden. Rime of the Frostmaiden. What was the first campaign I played? With the
I
Wednesday
think
group?
when you played with the Wednesday group, we were running Kobold Press's Midgard setting, but I don't remember.
Oh, yeah, it was. Yeah.
It was in Midgard from Kobold
I
Press.
remember nothing about that one.
I don't remember anything about it either.
And then and then Steve ran the one with the freaking
The little furry
animal
animals.
people. Yeah,
Um,
I
hu-
did
uh,
not like that either.
Humblewood. Humblewood.
Humblewood. Yeah, did not like it. That was an official thing.
No, that's third
No,
party.
no. I'm sorry, whoever created. I didn't like it.
It's all
Maybe that's
right.
how
I
it was
mean,
run.
here's the
Uh,
thing. I don't like furry animals in my D&D,
yeah,
but if that's the setting and that's what it is, I'm okay with it. It ain't my thing, but I'm okay with it.
yeah,
More so than trying to play King Arthur and then the Birdman walks next to you, next to King Arthur, and stands beside him
yeah,
as a knight of the round table. And then in front of them is the cat guy, and then the elephant guy wearing
yeah,
sunglasses. You know what I mean?
yeah. Then Rime of the Frostmaiden was really the first one that made an impact from 5e. The way you ran it, because you threw in a bunch of stuff yourself, like that
I
city
threw in the false Hydra.
with the false Hydra. That thing was freaking amazing. That adventure stood out as the best adventure in the whole setting. To
in
be
the whole
honest,
Frostmaiden.
yeah. And then the Ishuzu, of course, was amazing.
I loved maybe because I wrote it, but I loved Ishuzu, dude. Our groups. I mean, that was
Oh,
Pathfinder. We were playing Pathfinder
Pathfinder, yeah.
when we did Ishuzu.
Which that's another game. Unfortunately, it's a blast. I love Pathfinder. I love how customizable it is, but it's a bitch to keep as a player and I'm sure as a GM to keep track of anything unless you're playing online. And even
Yeah,
then, it's like still
it's still hard.
almost overwhelming, man. It's almost up there with freaking Shadowrun, man.
Mm-hmm.
But but I still had a blast, man. I loved my character. I loved our
Your
whole group.
character was really cool. Everyone
Our
had
group,
really neat characters.
yeah, our group was really great. And that's why I stuck with this group instead of the Wednesday group, man. The Wednesday group, they
Mm-hmm.
were annoying me, especially because they're rolling the dice, man. It's just anyway. That's for another day. But anyway, they don't watch your videos anyway, so
True. So yeah. Then we started delving out after the OGL debacle. After Wizards of the Coast tried
oh
to.
no, wait. Then I ran. I said, hey, you know what? I DM'd the most of any of us on second edition. Let me try my hand at DMing fifth edition, and I freaking ran a hybrid because I loved Ravenloft and Dark Sun so much. I ran
Oh
a
yeah,
hybrid Dark Sun Ravenloft campaign.
that's
So
right. That's right.
you were in a Ravenloft Dark world or whatever, that was Dark Sun setting, and I had fun with it.
It
I
was fun. I
think,
remembered a lot
yeah,
about it, but you
yeah,
definitely made a ton of mistakes from because you brought a lot of baggage from the old schools
from
because
the yeah.
you weren't familiar with the new way of playing, and you
Plus, we had a player who actually gave into the mists and betrayed everybody,
yeah.
which really ticked everyone off, unfortunately. But
Yeah,
you know,
like
which was a
the
big
permanent
mistake.
injuries for D&D is that was something you brought over that you thought was fun or funny, and uh these days people don't like that. That pissed one guy off that he quit
He quit
on day one. And then
because it wasn't just a permanent injury. His character died, and I
yeah,
think he was expecting it to be like regular fifth, where you're a freaking god.
yeah,
Sorry, you're gonna die if you get freaking hit to die hard enough to be
yeah,
killed. You're gonna die, and he
yeah,
did.
but there was
But
like there were a few things that were like you brought over from old school that I think hindered, because again you didn't know any better, but it kind of downgraded a lot of aspects of the campaign. The PvP angle, that I mean, the PvP thing was just not something that people like to do ever. It's not fun. Like from the outside looking in, it's fun, but it's fun for the person who wins.
right,
But there's always going to be someone that's going to be pissed off that their character died or got defeated by another player, and it's never fun for that person, ever, ever, ever. I've never experienced where that's fun for anyone, for the person. And then the nat 20s crits, always immediately cutting something off. I know what you were going for, but in fifth edition, that's not the type of game for that.
yeah.
So yeah,
Which I, I mean, for the type of setting that it was, you know, Dark Sun Ravenloft, I I thought it was appropriate. And
I think
and
maybe setting the expectations a little bit more
the
would
thing
have gone a
is
long
that
way.
I didn't quite fully accept fifth edition for what it is, and I didn't put enough restrictions also on certain things. Like, for example, that guy whose character died in
Hmm.
the first battle. Um, it, his character was a freaking turtle. I mean, you're in a
Yeah.
Dark Sun Ravenloft campaign, and your character's a fucking turtle. You know, everybody's a regular guy, but it is
Well,
what it
I
is.
played in a Ravenloft. There was a period where I was paying on Wednesdays because I was so into D&D that I wasn't getting enough in my life. I had my Sunday group, my Wednesday group, and on Tuesdays I had a paid GM that I was paying every week to run a game of
Yeah.
Ravenloft,
Oh, yeah,
Curse
that's
of
right. You
Strahd.
were.
And dude, we ran one campaign of I forget what. Oh, right, maybe it was Rime of the Frostmaiden. I don't remember. But then we ran Ravenloft, Curse of Strahd, and one of the other players that was they were a paying customer, and this is what one of the things you got to be careful when you if you're going to run campaigns as a paid GM, you still need to set the boundaries because just because someone's paying doesn't give them the right to
Do
take
whatever
over
they
the
want.
entire freaking
Yeah.
game. Like there's still other players who are paying that maybe have an expectation. So what am I getting to at? I was playing Ravenloft Curse of Strahd, okay, a gothic horror campaign, and this fucking guy makes a character who is a half elephant with a fucking trunk, wears sunglasses, and talks like Randy Savage. Oh yeah. Like we're playing a gothic horror adventure. I made a character that was serious, and when I get like that, I want to play a serious shit, but that shit throws me off of it so bad that I
Yeah,
can't have
and as
fun.
a DM, that's a DM's fault
Yeah.
because you know, like it was my fault for allowing that turtle. It's the DM's fault for allowing that because, sure, this guy's paying him money, but let's say there's 4 or 5 other players that are paying him money as well. It's
Mm-hmm.
gonna ruin that whole fucking setting for them, and it takes them out. I don't care who you are; it's gonna take you out. It just is, you
Yeah.
know.
And dude, that's actually the spark. That's the moment, and we'll have another live stream where we talk
Yeah,
about the
about it.
moment we stopped liking D&D. For me, that was the moment when I saw that a half elephant character was possible, and that now the meta is people playing meme characters like that. Not mean, meme, like fucking sunglass. Oh yeah, Slim Jim, and half elephant. Like that's cool for a one shot. It's funny for a
And
one
that
shot.
would have been fine in Humblewood, but
Yeah,
come on,
it would
Ravenloft,
have been
bro.
fine. No, it
That's
would
where your
not have been
mind
fine in a
goes.
Humblewood. It wouldn't have been fine in Humblewood because Humblewood, despite them being little animals, was a serious campaign.
Yeah, that's
It,
true. That's true too. Yeah,
and those meme characters really piss me off because when I play my role playing games, I want to be in the story and I want to immerse myself, and that shit throws me off. And I know not everyone plays the way I play. I get that, but then I don't want to be part of the group that doesn't play that way.
yeah,
I don't like it. I don't fucking like it. It,
yeah.
it, it, it disgusts me and it makes me not want to play that. And especially if it's gothic horror. God damn it. It's a gothic horror. What is an elephant doing in there? Jesus Christ.
But yeah,
It
so
doesn't
I
make any
tried my
sense.
hand at DMing and went okay. Again, I just didn't grasp what they were going for with 5e.
Mm-hmm.
So that
No,
was
it's
the
not
issue
your
there.
fault about
Yeah,
grasping 5e. It's that 5e evolved very quickly into something different than what it started
yeah.
as.
And then
Because,
I'm
and we'll
sorry, go
talk
ahead.
about this in
Yeah,
that other video about, why we left, but 5e was not, 5e was grounded. 5e started off as even more grounded than second edition. That was the initial design intent of 5e. Volo's Guide to Monsters. You remember that book that I sold
yeah,
for $400?
yeah.
That was the book that was the turning point because they resisted making monsters races for people to play. And Volo's Guide to Monsters was the first book to release monsters races. They released goblins, orcs, um, bugbears, and something else. And it was like, oh, Yonti and Yonti were kind of overpowered, and all the races in that book were unbalanced for 5e. 5e is a balanced quote unquote game. Those were all unbalanced. And in the beginning of that book, the writing, so Mike Merles was the lead designer at the time. He got fired because of some Me Too stuff that was bullshit put on him. But anyways, he was smart. He was a smart designer. He was actually the best part of 5e was Mike Merles. And when he got let go is when the 5e started changing drastically. But
Mm,
in that Volo's Guide to Monsters, they reluctantly put out those races and they said in the very beginning of the book, these are not intended to be regular characters for people to play. These are meant to be extremely rare. If you want to allow a player character to play one of these, we recommend you only allow one player. That's
mm.
it. You can't have a whole party of, goblins and all this stuff. Like it literally was this huge paragraph. I think it was 2 pages long, explaining why you shouldn't be doing this or allowing this, how they were purposefully unbalanced and all this other stuff, right? And so that came out and I accepted that because it was like, okay, cool. They see that it's supposed to be something rare and they're very careful about it, right? But then after that, Xanathar's Guide comes out, and then the other supplements come out, and then it just all goes downhill. Then you have lightsaber fighting, rogues that are flying into the air and flipping lightsabers. You have an armor that's Iron
We
Man that
have
can shoot
Iron Man. I
laser
was gonna
beams and
say
has
we
a
had
cannon that shoots, and
our
it
player
just
who
went
fucking basically
way,
made Iron Man, dude. I was like, what the fuck? We have
yeah,
Iron Man in our fucking party. Like, what the fuck is
yeah.
going on here, dude?
So up until Volo's Guide came out, and until and a little bit after Volo's was a great book, by the way. It was fucking one of the best books 5e has ever put out. One of the best non-adventure books 5e has put out, Volos, because it was basically lore on certain creature types. So they had a whole chapter on hags, a chapter on like giants or something, and then it had a bestiary at the very end. And it was a really cool book. And then it had a few playable races. It was the coolest, I think, probably still my favorite non-adventure book that 5e has come
So
out
it's
with.
kind of like the Van Richten's guide, I guess. That were from 2E, um,
Mm-hmm.
where Van Richten's guide was a lot of lore. Like it was just really cool
Like that.
lore. Where you had the vampire and vampire with a Y, and
Mm-hmm.
then you had like all this other stuff, and then you had a few. Yeah, you had a bestiary at the end too, and but you didn't have any playable classes, obviously, from
Yeah.
that. But yeah. So then the back to our main topic,
Back to the main
the
topic.
debacle
Yeah.
happened.
We'll go deep
And,
into this in the next live stream.
yeah,
So
yeah.
prepare yourselves.
um, the debacle happened, and so we were like, "Oh, fuck this!" And we went off and tried some new shit.
Like a lot of people did. Like
Like a lot of
this
actually during this time, we had also done a few one shots of Delta Green, Alien,
Call of
and
Cthulhu.
Call of Cthulhu, and So I'm sure there was something else we did.
We played a few games.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
no, we played card games. We played like the yeah, and also the castle. What is it? Mansions of whatever, which was a
Mansions of
board game.
Wings.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But yeah, then from there, I mean, Delta Green, as far as our favorite TTRPG moments, Delta Green has a ton of them for me. Delta Green is one of my favorite role playing games. Really cool. I've met almost all of the designers of Delta Green and interviewed them with the great old ones. I've been very fortunate. And during the Lovecraft Film Festival, a lot of them show up for the Lovecraft Film Festival here in Portland every October. And I've met and hung out and had dinner with quite a few of them. And a few drinks with a few of them. And they're all really cool guys. Lots of great stories of how that game came to be. I mean, the lore behind Delta Green, like the game itself, is amazing. You know, these guys all lived in this tight little apartment and they have so many funny ass stories and crazy stories. It's insane. It's great. Like, you know, when I interviewed Dennis Detwiller, who's one of the designers, I was telling him some of the stories that some of the other guys told me, and he's like, "I can't believe you know about that." You know, like, yeah, that did happen. That did happen, and he was like really, really shocked
That's cool.
that I was bringing all that up, and he couldn't believe it. He's like, "How do you know all this?" It's just because I met all these other guys, you know, and they were all really cool people, and so Delta Green just kind of has grown, and now actually it's finally
Getting
starting
really
to
popular now. Yeah.
it's starting to pick up steam. I mean, it's been over 10 years since this edition has been out. And finally, like, people are starting to open their eyes about this game because personally, I don't think Call of Cthulhu does horror very well. I know a lot of people get mad at me when I say that, but it's not. How do I put this? And this is not something that I want to like go too deep into, but it's not so much that like it's a bad game. It's a decent game. I just don't like games with a tremendous amount of skills. And even though Delta Green has a lot of skills, it does it in a different way that's more intuitive. But also, like Call of Cthulhu, because it takes place in the 20s, generally, I mean, I know that people are going to post, oh, you can play Call of Cthulhu in any time period. The default setting is the 1920s, and most people play in the 1920s. And for me, we're so far removed from that time period that it feels cartoony to me. The flappers and the mafia guys and this and that, you know what I mean? It feels cartoony to me. And I just can't immerse myself in that, in the horror of that. Whereas Delta Green takes place in modern times. And I think that's why I feel it's more true horror. Because when I play a Delta Green scenario, man, I can actually see myself in that situation. Like, they're far more relatable because it's modern times. You know?
Yeah. But yeah, we have a lot of great stories with Delta Green. Yeah.
Well, so I have one.
Kid getting shot in the head.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one. So, were you in that? Were you in that adventure?
Yeah.
That was with the Wednesday group. So Steve is one of our Wednesday players. So actually, this is one of the only adventures that I actually really like from Call of Cthulhu, but it takes place in modern times, and it's called Ladybug Fly Away. That's the name of the adventure.
Was that the name of the adventure? I don't remember that.
Yeah, Ladybug Fly Away. So this girl gets kidnapped at a Walmart. It takes place in modern times, and that's why I like it, right? So I ran it for Delta Green instead of Call of Cthulhu. But it's supposed to be a Call of Cthulhu adventure. So this little girl gets kidnapped at a Walmart, and the kidnappers, apparently, as you investigate, you find out that they're tied to like this cult. And then what's cool about that adventure is someone made a website, because in the adventure there's this website, and you literally can go to that website. And so I had the players go to the website, and sure enough, it was there. And it's really weird and all this stuff. So someone actually took the time and is paying for this website to be up just for that adventure. And it's awesome. It's great. It's fantastic. Adds a lot to the flavor. But anyway, so the girl gets kidnapped. So the players, you guys got a lead that she was being held in a motel. And so, okay, there you are. You were cutting out for a second. So you guys are trying to figure out devise a plan to intercept, because you know what room in the motel they're staying at, and you're like, okay, we're going to scope it out for a bit, and then we have a plan to break in and take the girl and catch the kidnapper or whatever. So Steve, who happens to be a sharpshooter, his character's a sharpshooter, 80% chance of hitting. Any target. His firearm skill was at 80%. So you guys go and you're supposed to throw in a smoke grenade through the window and then kick the door in and then shoot the lady in the head and take the little girl and run out. I mean, you guys, your percentages to succeed were so high. And what happens? Brian, who's supposed to throw the grenade, the flash grenade, the smoke grenade in through the window, rolls a critical failure. So the smoke grenade breaks the window but falls back outside. And because it was critical, I said that it was blocked by the mattress. Like the lady had put up the mattress, caught wind of them being out there, and put the mattress, so it bounced back outside. So then they're like, shit, no smoke grenade. Well, we've given our position because we broke the window already, so they know we're coming. So Steve's like, fuck. So he kicks the door down and tries to shoot the lady. The lady's holding the little girl hostage. Steve kicks the door down, 80% chance to hit, and rolls a 1. Or like the worst critical failure you could roll, and blows the little girl's brains out. The little girl that was kidnapped. Of all the things that could happen. But it became, see, it's what I love about games like that. You know, like it's, people don't get it. Like the 5th edition players, especially, no one ever wants to fail. But it's the failures, really, that are the most memorable.
Yeah.
They're by far the most memorable.
And I'm writing an article on how you can actually make unforgettable adventures for 5th edition for our newsletter for next week. But even with what I have, you know, what I'm going to put in the article, it still is not quite the same, you know, as something like that. Some tragic failure where,
yeah.
I mean, it just, like, heck, like in my Dark Sun Ravenloft campaign, you know, the turtle getting its arm cut off in the first combat and then dies. We all remember that shit. That's how the campaign freaking started, man. And the guy got so mad he never came back to our game session.
But it was of your campaign. So that's the most memorable moment. It was that one. It's the failures, man. That's why I love, like, not to bring up my game too much, but that's why I love, like, having that capacity, because, like, you remember that when you guys were fighting that witch during the playtest, and it was the very first time any of you actually dropped down to 0 hit points in the playtest. And it was Matt. Like he got attacked by a freaking zombie, a weak creature, bites him in the neck, and like he gets a permanent injury of like a twitch or something. So he like got bit in the neck, and now he gets a permanent injury of like this twitch. But like now, for the rest of his character's career, he has this twitch, and he's always going to remember that zombie that bit him in the neck. Like it's so memorable, you know. I don't know why 5th edition players don't understand that. Like they always get mad.
What you do with those injuries, permanent injuries, on Left for the Vultures is what I was going for with the Dark Sun.
With Dark Sun, yeah, I know.
It's just with the 5th edition rules. First,
yeah,
you spent a lot of time testing it out for Left for the Vultures and perfecting it. You know, and for my campaign, I just said, "Oh, this would be really cool to do."
Yeah,
you know. So, but I think for your system, it really, really works really well. But anyway, that's for another video.
And people know what they're getting themselves into. That's the thing. Yeah. 5th edition, people don't expect that out of 5th edition.
Yeah,
you know, that's just it. It's like they don't expect the rainbow unicorn to come out. Sorry. But anyway, so yeah, so. With all that said, yeah, we had some really memorable moments, man, in our role-playing game. I think we should be coming close to the end of the live stream here. We've been live streaming for an hour and 20 minutes. Still haven't had anyone hop on, but that's okay. We expected that. It was impromptu. We didn't advertise it.
We'll have some clips we can close up on the shorts and whatever.
Yeah, but this was fun, man, just kind of reminiscing from day one all the way through different games. And, you know, we want to hear from you guys. So if you're watching this video on demand later, we love hearing these stories. You know, we love hearing your favorite parts of role-playing games, because that's what keeps us playing these games. It's you know, the fun parts. This is why we play them, not because we want to bash other games. That's not what keeps us coming back. What keeps us coming back are the good things, the things that make it fun, memorable, exciting, and then you sit back with your friends and go, man, do you remember the time that the guy's character got his head cut off in one swing by a shitty goblin? And the guy was mad. A goblin shouldn't be wielding a two-handed axe.
It wasn't his head, his arm, and then he blunted that. his slits off his arm, and then he bled to death. And I'm saying, oh, the goblin shouldn't be able to lift that axe. Well, you know what? He did.
In
so
this
whatever,
campaign,
man.
he can.
Like whatever. What?
Yeah.
Like Jesus, Lord Almighty.
Yep. But
It's my
we'd love to
fucking
hear
campaign,
from.
and this one he can, asshole.
Yep. Exactly. Campaigns are different, and in your campaign, it could. It was your own world. In your world, they could wield to him.
Yeah.
Like, what was the problem?
What is the freaking problem, man?
But yeah, so we had so much fun. We'd love to hear the fun that you guys have had with your games and your not just D&D, any game, any tabletop role playing game that you've played. Memorable moments. We'd love to hear about them. And yeah, come here, Rufio. Everyone wants to see what you look like. Come on, Papa. Up. This is Rufio. He's my newest doggy. He's a little puppy. A little puppy. Yeah, little. He's not little. He's a good boy. Look at those eyes.
How big is he going to get? Did they tell you?
Probably, not much bigger than this, to be honest. He's 2 years old.
Oh, he's 2? Oh, okay.
Yeah. But his
about
paws
Sebastian's
are big.
Size, it looks like, yeah.
And his paws are big, and he's still very puppyish, so I think he still has a little bit of growing to do.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Anyways, thanks, everyone, for... no one hung out, but thanks for hanging out after the fact. And watching the video on demand, and join us for the next one. We're looking forward to doing these live streams on a regular basis. I had a lot of fun talking about and reminiscing about our campaigns.
Heck yeah. It'd be great to have other people joining in on the conversation, throwing in their experiences, their comments.
Love to hear about
it. Even the nasty comments that we love so much.
We love those.
We really do. Honestly, we do.
We should do an episode of all the freaking hate and the stupid idiots.
I have that on the freaking calendar already.
I can't wait to show off some of these.
Wait. Yeah, everybody
it's
says,
almost like a badge of honor.
Yeah, everybody's like, oh, it's a faux pas. You can't badmouth the people who badmouth you. I'm not badmouthing. I'm just using their own words.
Hey, it's a public forum where they posted.
Yeah, they posted it. That means they wanted people to see their nasty comment. Yeah. So I'm going to put it on display. So if somebody leaves me a nasty comment, I pin it so that everyone can see it. Yep. So, I have no shame doing that. I have no qualms in doing that. Because if you went out of your way to be a freaking dick and you put it out there, okay, then stand by it.
Yep, stand by it. Come on. We'll invite you on the show to defend your positions, too.
Please.
So we have no problem doing that. If we ever post one of your comments, you haters, we want you to come on. Come defend your position. We'll treat you nicely, but defend your position. And if you're not willing to do that, then you're just a pussy.
Yeah.
Let's just call it what it is.
I had somebody who was hilarious. I did a short, and I said, I love nasty comments. You leave me a nasty comment, I'll pin it. And somebody leaves me a comment that said nasty comment. So I pinned it. It was freaking hilarious.
I love it. Yeah, that's great. I love that. All right, man. All right, everyone. We'll see you guys next week. We will announce the next one. So this was a test. We had to test and make sure this was all working and all that stuff. So
that we don't have any hiccups the next time. That's why we did it. Although the next time we're gonna do a tandem stream on my channel and Left for the Vultures channel because this time we didn't stream on my channel.
Mm-hmm. All right, y'all. Talk to you guys soon.
All right. See y'all soon.
Bye.